Greetings, CATDC. You have just about made it to the end of the school year, to the end of May, before that, of course, and to summer. So we're all looking forward to summer and the reopening of the state in June. And what I've taken to calling the great return after 16 months or so of pandemic-related turmoil. Of course, we've been changed for all time. CATDC is an ever-evolving organization, and we're integrating all our learning, just as you are, using new tech muscles we've developed to keep the best of our virtual programming, while bringing more and more learning experiences back to in-person gatherings. I'm talking today with Dr. Nimisha Barton and Regan Galvan, the co-facilitators of our first in-person offering since March of 2020, which is very exciting. Their workshop is Assessment for Equity, Engagement, and Care, to be held in Encino, California. So thank you both for coming today in this wildly busy time. And first of all, please tell us about yourselves, what you do, and what has been your own professional learning focus this year, like no other.
Sure. So I'm Nimisha Barton, she, her, hers, and I've been a diversity, equity, and inclusion administrator in some capacity or another over almost 10 years. So I am a scholar activist, which just means that I think and I write on issues of social justice that are related to my activism. I'm also an equity and inclusion consultant. I work with higher education and also K through 12 establishments just to make learning and work environments more equitable for everyone. And you asked about our professional focus for this year. This has been quite a year for being a DEI practitioner. So I'd say that for me, it's really been about rethinking the ideas that have been handed down to me about what DEI is, moving away from 1990s versions of multiculturalism and sort of early aughts versions of inclusion as assimilation to something that resembles actual justice and belonging for students and really for everyone. So Regan and I always talk about Bettina Love's book, We Want to Do More Than Survive. So yeah, that's been a powerful read.
Great. Dr. Love, who was at our Women in Leadership Conference, which I know you were both with us at. I think you were, Nimisha. You were there, yes?
Might have missed that one.
Not just this year. And Regan, tell us more about what you're up to now.
Yeah, so I am the Director of Teaching and Learning at Vistamar School, and my main job is to support teachers, support them in the classroom, help match them up with professional growth, create professional learning experiences within the school day for our staff faculty. And my focus this year has been just trying to connect and support folks in a year where everybody's just already innovated, has already solved a bunch of problems. And, to try and drive professional learning even more has been somewhat of a delicate balance. And also, when I think about it, I'm like, we're just trying to take care of teachers, right? And so it's gentle and it's yes, we have space for conversations, and it's also just like we do with students, trying to meet folks where they're at. Another thing I've been really kind of hanging on to this year is thinking about how do we connect online? How do we build community and belonging online? So I felt really fortunate to be able to go to a few workshops, and they've been lots of different topics. But my meta goal has been, how is this facilitator connecting with the humans in the Zoom room? What questions are they asking? How are they creating community? What check-in questions are they using? And then doing a little stealing and replicating with my own teachers to try and use strategies that can help build community online. We just went back in April, and I know, but we've kept our meetings online. So I'm looking forward to a full open in the fall.
Great. Well, I so appreciate how both of you are really involved in rethinking common practices in the world of education and innovating. And Regan, assessment and evaluation practices have been one of the many areas of teaching and learning that we've had to rethink and reevaluate in this pandemic year. How do you see approaches changing, and also what can participants hope to gain by attending your 3-day program this summer?
Yeah, so I think I think a lot I think we've gained a lot in the loss that we've had, if that's possible, to gain from a loss. But students had lost equitable access to the curriculum. Students lost being able to ask questions. Teachers lost being able to give on the spot feedback in that same way. And so what had to be created was flexibility, was an intentional culture of revision and redemption. And I think that happens when teachers hold love and care as their primary goal. I mean, we teach stuff too, but like we're there first and foremost to love our students and take care of them. And so I think if you hold that as a value, then you end up creating a system that meets students where they're at. So participants can walk away from this program by creating. They'll walk away with creating a system that is rooted in meaningful learning goals, like learning goals that students actually want to learn, that feel relevant. They will create a system that's rooted in choice. So students get to learn and demonstrate their learning in a way that lets them to shine, where they get to choose different performance-based assessments, where we show them what success looks like, where we give students exemplars, we build in feedback cycles, we build in space for that during the day. And beyond that, I think it's just building building our values around the idea that you don't need a test to learn. That it doesn't need to be A, B, and C for students to demonstrate learning, that we can be open about it, that we actually can build belonging with assessment.
Thank you. And Nimisha, do you want to add anything on this point of rethinking, reevaluating assessment and what people will gain?
Sure. So I'll just make two little points because I think Regan really summed it up really well there. The first is, just from like a layperson's perspective, it's so amazing to explode the category of grades. Grades are like a standard fixture of the education system. They've always been around. It's the way that all of us were educated. And so just to think about more frankly, like liberatory ways in the classroom of not having oneself measured, but having, being incentivized to learn. And to have that learning measured in a particular way and to be encouraged in the classroom. I think that that's really exciting, especially since it's going to positively touch the lives of all students, but especially our marginalized students. And then I guess the second thing is, and this is something that Regan and I talk about all the time, who is the diversity practitioner, if you will, the equity and inclusion practitioner in your school? If it's embodied in the literal body of one person and they're responsible for doing all the heavy lifting in the entire school, well, we know that that's not what we want, right? If diversity, equity, inclusion, if those words are in your mission statement, then every single person who works at the school is an equity practitioner. So what I hope is that faculty will come here and that they will learn a lot of these skills and that they will be empowered to actually practice equity in the classroom so that it's not just one person trying to do all this work. It's all of us doing all the work together.
Yeah, great. I want to circle back to this idea of coming back in person. And now, Regan, I know that the original plan had been for you to work with Mark Boswell again. We had this ongoing group last year on assessment, and Mark is off doing some other things. And so I know that you and Erin Hoffman, our Southern California director and managing director of programs, talked a lot about how you could present this learning in the most effective and impactful way. Tell me or tell us about your decision to move this to an in-person setting.
Yeah. So, Mark and I, we had a lot of fun last year. And I think our big reflection was that folks get busy when the school year starts. We just don't have as much space, both like mentally and like just in our calendars to work on innovation and especially in this last year with always having to innovate. just to get our jobs done. And so we thought it would be a better fit, both for the content of the program and for just the camaraderie that we're trying to foster amongst colleagues, amongst this cohorts of new colleagues that folks are meeting, if we could concentrate the experience. Additionally, I think my own personal experience of professional development is that it is a gift. It is a gift to take 2-3 days to leave your home, leave your work, sit with a topic that you're interested in or passionate about, and just like dig in and learn and trade ideas and get a chance to reflect and journal, and someone gives you yummy food. Like the things that we create for our students, like to give that to ourselves, that's such a gift. And like Zoom is lovely. And I think folks who have created really, really great learning over Zoom this year, and it will feel just a little bit different in person. Just for all the reasons that we want to get back to in person for our students, I think are the reasons that when possible to get back to some in-person learning for ourselves.
Thank you. And Nimisha, we're so excited that you're joining Regan for this in-person event. And what are you most looking forward to in facilitating this with Regan?
Oh my goodness. I'm most looking forward to getting the band back together. I adore working with Regan. Since the very first time I ever met her, she's been like my #1 partner. For anyone who doesn't know Regan, she is very intellectually generous. She is whip smart. She's so kind. She's so warm. And I've always learned so much from her. So that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about this. I guess the other reason that I'm excited about this is, to start coupling ideas that have been floating out there around like equity and inclusion for a while, sort of like teaching theories or theories of pedagogy, connecting it with these assessment practices. So for example, Zaretta Hammond's ideas around culturally responsive pedagogy. How does assessment tie into that, right? Or even what Paulo Freire once called the, critical consciousness, raising critical consciousness. Just the notion that we and our students begin to have an understanding that we're part of this larger socio-political context and all of the structural inequities therein. And, how can we find new ways of helping students see that, where they're not constantly being evaluated in sort of these. And when I say discriminating, I don't necessarily mean it in the sort of racial or gender terms, but yeah, in these really sort of discriminating ways that can be really exclusive,
So bringing people together again in person, creating this environment of belonging, inclusivity, providing skills, new ways of looking at old ways of assessing. I think the two of you will bring so much to this program. I'm so grateful for you today, sharing your perspectives, and also for being willing to take this time in the summer to learn with and from other educators from our schools. So thank you again. It's been great to talk to you both.
Thanks, Lisa.
And CATDC, we hope you'll join us. We have a number of summer institutes. They're filling fast, so take a look at our website and just enjoy this culminating time that we're in, and just looking forward to summer, and also just the farewells with your students and your colleagues as we move into this next chapter. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.